What if the perfect new apartment came with a mother who would never let her baby go? Tonight, a young couple expecting their first child moves into a quiet suburban complex just outside Chicago. They thought they were starting a new chapter, but something inside apartment 18 was already waiting for a new family, and it had been waiting a very, very long time. Stay with me until the end, because if you ever hear a soft lullaby at 1:30 a.m., you might already be too late. Hey everyone, welcome to Eerie Narratives, where the shadows have stories and the walls remember everything. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We drop fresh, bone-chilling stories every week that will keep you up at night. Let's dive in. Olivia was exhausted. 7 months pregnant, feet swollen, back aching, and they had been driving for nearly 5 straight hours with almost no stops. "Babe, how much farther?" she groaned, shifting uncomfortably in the passenger seat. Nathan glanced at Google Maps and forced a smile. "Just 5 more miles. We're almost there, I promise." He reached over and gently rubbed her belly. "Our little girl is going to love the new place. Company housing, way bigger than our old apartment, and it's all ours. This promotion finally came through." Olivia managed a weak smile, but something deep in her gut twisted, and it wasn't just the baby kicking. When they finally pulled up to the quiet, beige apartment complex, the building looked ordinary, too ordinary. Pale yellow walls, neatly trimmed lawns, and a bored-looking security guard who perked up the moment their car stopped. "Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell?" the guard asked, tipping his cap. "Welcome. The manager said you're in Unit 18. I'll help with the bags." As Olivia stepped out of the car, the guard's eyes dropped straight to her very pregnant belly. His face went pale. He took 2 involuntary steps back. "Everything okay?" Nathan asked. The guard swallowed hard. "Ma'am, maybe you two should stay at the motel down the road tonight, just for a day or 2. We can get the unit fully ready for you." Olivia frowned. "The manager already said it was cleaned and ready. I'm exhausted. I just want to lie down." The guard hesitated, then forced a smile. "Of course, my mistake. Let me grab those suitcases." As they rode the elevator to the 3rd floor, Nathan squeezed Olivia's hand. "See? Everything's fine. New city, new start." Unit 18 was surprisingly spacious. High ceilings, fresh paint, and big windows overlooking the courtyard. Olivia sighed in relief as she walked through the rooms. "This is actually nicer than I expected," she said, rubbing her belly. "Our baby's going to have so much space to grow up here." Behind them, unnoticed, a faint shadow moved across the hallway wall. In its arms, something small and porcelain-like dangled, a doll with glassy eyes and a faded pink dress. That night, at 1:37 a.m., Olivia woke up with a gasp. She felt it clearly, a cold, rough hand slowly stroking her pregnant belly in slow circles. "David! Stop it," she whispered, half asleep. "That's creepy." But when she reached down to push the hand away, her fingers touched something dry, leathery, and unnaturally hot. A burning pain shot through her palm. She screamed. Nathan bolted upright. "Olivia, what's wrong?" "There was someone touching my stomach. It burned me." Nathan turned on the light. The room was empty. No one else was there. He examined her hand carefully. "Babe, there's nothing. No mark. You must have had a dream. The drive, the new place, it's a lot." Olivia stared at her perfectly normal hand, heart pounding. She knew what she felt. It wasn't a dream. The next morning, Nathan left for his first day at the new job, kissing her forehead. "Try to relax today, okay? Maybe take a nap." Olivia tried. She made tea and sat on the balcony staring at the quiet courtyard. Then the doorbell rang. A middle-aged cleaning lady stood there, smiling nervously. "The guard sent me, said you might need some help around the house, especially in your condition." "Thank you. I could really use someone for a few hours a day." The woman stepped inside, but as soon as she entered the kitchen, a pot clattered loudly to the floor. A black cat with glowing red eyes sat on the counter, staring straight at them. The cleaning lady went white. I can't stay here. You shouldn't either. This place, it doesn't like pregnant women." Before Olivia could respond, the woman bolted for the door. As the elevator doors closed behind her, the black cat slipped in too. Seconds later, blood-curdling screams echoed through the shaft. By the time the doors finally opened on the ground floor, the cleaning lady was dead, blood pouring from her ears, nose, and mouth. No one could explain how it happened. That evening, when Nathan came home, Olivia was shaking. "People are dying after they come here," she whispered. "Something's wrong with this apartment." Nathan hugged her. "You're stressed. It's not good for the baby. Let's just order dinner and relax." They sat on the balcony eating takeout when a soft, haunting voice began singing nearby. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray." Olivia froze. "Do you hear that?" Nathan looked confused. "What?" The singing grew clearer, closer, coming from inside their apartment. Their unborn baby started kicking violently, as if reacting to the lullaby. Olivia stood up, clutching her belly. "Who's there? Show yourself!" The voice continued, now directly behind her. "You'll never know, dear, how much I love you." Then it changed, turning cold and possessive. "Please don't take my sunshine away. She's mine now." A shadowy figure materialized in the corner of the living room, a woman in a torn nightgown, cradling an old porcelain doll. The doll's painted smile seemed to widen. The figure looked straight at Olivia's belly with hollow, jealous eyes. "That baby belongs to me." Olivia screamed. A sharp pain tore through her abdomen. Nathan tried to run for the door, but it slammed shut on its own. The lights flickered wildly. The black cat reappeared, leaping at Nathan's face, clawing deep gashes across his cheek. In the chaos, the shadowy woman stretched her arms towards Olivia. "Give her to me. I lost mine because of a liar. I won't lose another." Olivia collapsed in agony. She felt a horrible tearing sensation. By the time paramedics arrived, it was too late. She had lost the baby. In the hospital the next day, the security guard visited them, looking broken. "I'm so sorry. I should have stopped you. I knew." He told them the truth. A few years earlier, a couple lived in Unit 18. The wife couldn't have children. She grew obsessed with a porcelain doll, treating it like her real baby, singing that same lullaby every night. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." Desperate, the husband arranged for a surrogate, but the surrogate manipulated him, threatened to take the baby until he killed his wife and married her instead. In a moment of madness, he burned his wife alive in the apartment, making it look like an electrical fire. The surrogate took everything and then disappeared with the money and the promise of the child. But the wife's spirit never left. She still waits in apartment 18 for a new pregnant woman. She sees them as replacements for the child stolen from her, and she makes sure no one else gets to keep their baby. Nathan and Olivia moved far away. Olivia's mind never fully recovered, but late at night, tenants in the complex still report hearing a soft lullaby drifting from Unit 18. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." And sometimes they see a woman rocking a doll by the window, a doll that now looks strangely alive.
So, if you ever move into a new apartment and the security guard looks nervous when he sees a pregnant belly, maybe ask for a different unit. What would you do if you heard that lullaby in your home at night? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me, have you ever lived in a place that felt wrong from the very first night? If you enjoyed this story, please smash that like button, subscribe to Eerie Narratives, and hit the bell so you never miss a new nightmare. Share this with someone who loves a good scare. And remember, sleep tight, because in some apartments, someone else is already watching your family. See you in the next story.
You're driving on a deserted mountain highway at midnight. Torrential rain, zero visibility. Suddenly, a beautiful girl in a soaked white dress knocks on your window. She begs in a soft voice, "Can you please give me a ride? My home is just a few miles ahead." Your buddy insists she's harmless. You let her in the back seat. 30 minutes later, she calmly says, "7 years ago, I died on this exact road." And that's when you look in the rear-view mirror and realize the girl sitting behind you has no reflection. This isn't fiction. This is a true story that happened to one of our viewers back in August 2016. Tonight, you're gonna hear every terrifying detail exactly as it was lived. Hey everyone, welcome back to Eerie Narratives, where real horror stories come to life. If you love getting those spine-chilling moments, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. All right, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's begin. My name is Alex. Back in August 2016, I was living in the Bay Area, but had driven up to Northern California for a quick getaway with my coworker and good friend Ryan. We were both obsessed with mountain road trips. That weekend, we decided to drive from Sacramento up through the Sierra Nevada mountains toward Lake Tahoe and beyond for a short escape. We planned to reach a small town near Tahoe by 9 p.m., enjoy the night, and head back the next day. But the storm had other plans. By the time we left the foothills, the sky turned pitch black and the rain started hammering down like the world was ending. The wipers couldn't keep up. Locals at a roadside diner strongly warned us, "Don't go any further in this weather. That stretch through the mountains is known for bad accidents during heavy rain." We were stubborn. We waited 2 hours until the rain eased a bit, then pushed on. Just 40 miles from our destination, the rain became insane. Fog and condensation made the windshield almost useless. That's when we spotted a tiny roadside diner. We pulled over and sat inside, sipping hot coffee, trying to warm up. Suddenly, thud, 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 someone pounded hard on the car window. Ryan rolled it open. Standing there in the pouring rain was a young woman, maybe 22 or 23, stunningly beautiful, wearing a pure white dress. She was completely drenched, water streaming from her long dark hair. In a soft, desperate voice, she said, "Sir, please, can you drop me to my hometown? It's only a short distance ahead. I've been waiting here for hours." Ryan was instantly captivated by her looks. He whispered, "Dude, we can't just leave her out here in this storm." I felt something was off. Her eyes seemed too bright, almost glowing. But Ryan kept pushing. Finally, I gave in and told her to get in the back seat. The second she sat down, the air inside the car turned ice cold, heavier. Ryan tried making small talk. "So, what's your name? Where are you coming from?" She stayed completely silent, not one word. She just stared straight ahead. The rain intensified, lightning flashed non-stop. After 15 minutes of dead silence, she suddenly spoke in a calm, flat voice. This road is very dangerous during these storms. 7 years ago, I had an accident right here. I was walking back to my hometown in the rain, wearing this same white dress. A speeding car hit me from behind. I fell on the road, bleeding, screaming for help, but no one stopped. They just drove away and left me to die. As she spoke, a wave of dizziness hit me. The road in front of me blurred, and I suddenly saw the accident playing out like a vision. A white car racing past, a girl in white flying through the air, lying on the wet road, twitching, calling for help, exactly like the girl sitting behind me now. My hands started shaking on the wheel. I glanced at the rearview mirror. What I saw made my blood run cold. Her face was no longer beautiful. It was twisted, deathly pale, with hollow black eyes and blood trickling from her mouth. She was smiling, but it wasn't a human smile. The moment I saw that, I lost control. The car swerved hard and slammed into an oncoming vehicle. Crash! My head smashed into the steering wheel. Ryan was badly hurt beside me, blood everywhere. When I came to a few seconds later, I looked back, and the girl was gone. The back seat was empty. Only wet stains remained where she had been. Somehow, we limped to the nearest gas station near Tahoe. Locals helped us and rushed us to a small clinic. When I told them the full story, the girl in white, the accident she described, how she vanished, their faces went white. An older man finally spoke. "Son, 7 years ago, a girl from a nearby town died on that exact stretch. She was wearing a white dress, hit and run. No one helped her. Her name was Emily. Since that day, many drivers have reported picking up a girl in white on stormy nights. She never reaches her hometown, and the people who give her a ride rarely make it home safely." That night changed me forever. Even today, whenever it pours heavily in the mountains, I still feel those glowing eyes watching me from the back seat. But that wasn't the only story shared with us. Here's another true incident from 2012 sent in by our viewer, Michael. I was a freshman studying engineering at Ohio University. I was assigned room 138 in one of the old dorm buildings on campus. From the very first night, weird things started happening. Every night around 2 or 3 a.m., I'd hear awakening to the sound of a guy crying and screaming like someone was beating him badly. I could hear slaps, thuds, and painful groans right inside my room. My roommate never heard a thing. He thought I was losing it. Then came a 4-day break. Most students went home. My roommate left too. I was alone in the entire wing. It was pouring rain that night. Around midnight, there was a loud bang, bang, bang on my door. I opened it. Nobody there. When I turned around, my entire room was trashed. Books, clothes, mattress, everything thrown around. The knocking started again, louder. Still no one outside. Then I noticed the room next door, 137, which always had a heavy padlock, was now open wide. Something pulled me inside. The second I stepped in, the door slammed shut behind me with insane force. The crying sounds returned, much louder, right behind me. Then the closet started shaking violently, like someone trapped inside was desperately trying to break out. A loud crash, the window glass shattered. When lightning flashed, I saw it clearly. A boy's dead body hanging from the ceiling fan, neck twisted at a horrible angle, eyes wide open, staring straight at me. I screamed and ran downstairs to the security guard. The guard took me back to room 137. It was locked again, heavy padlock in place. He looked at me with pity and said, "Kid, that room has been sealed for the last 15 years.
A student named Michael used to live there. He fell in love with a professor's daughter. The professor didn't approve. During a big campus festival, he and some guys dragged the student into that room and hanged him from the fan. They made it look like suicide. Since then, people hear his screams on stormy nights. I switched dorms the very next morning. To this day, I can't walk past that building with my skin crawling. And then there's the story of the Thompson family in Chicago. It was one of the worst rainy nights the city had seen in years, July 26th. Mr. Thompson was out of town for work. Mrs. Thompson was home alone with their 2 small kids in their new high-rise apartment on the 25th floor. At around 1 a.m., while watching TV, she heard noises from the kids' room. She thought it was her son Tyler playing. She called out, "Tyler, go back to bed!" But when she walked in, it wasn't Tyler. It was a strange 18 or 19-year-old guy making weird childish movements. The moment she stepped closer, he ran into the kids' room and vanished. She searched everywhere. Finally, she opened the closet, and he was standing inside, staring at her with blank eyes. Terrified, she tried to call her husband, but there was no signal. Then, loud knocking started on the front door. When she opened it, an old woman holding a shovel was walking straight toward the kids' room. Mrs. Thompson screamed, "Stop! Who are you?"
Mrs. Thompson screamed, "Stop! Who are you?" The old woman ignored her and entered. The door slammed shut with massive force. When Mrs. Thompson forced it open again, she saw the old woman and the boy standing on the balcony railing. The old woman turned, gave a cold smile, and jumped off the 25th floor with the boy. Mrs. Thompson grabbed her kids, took the car keys, and drove through the storm to a relative's house. Later, they learned the truth. During construction of that building years earlier, a mentally ill boy and his mother had fallen to their deaths from the 25th floor. The apartment where it happened has stayed empty ever since. No one wants to live there. There are many more. The haunted cabin in the Pacific Northwest where a black shadow crawled out of the shower. The cursed old steel mill where a burned bride appears in mirrors. And the man with no legs who offers you shelter under his umbrella on a stormy night, only for you to realize he's been dead for years. But the one that still haunts me the most is the story from our viewer Ryan in 2023. He was heading home late from the office on a stormy night. His bike wouldn't start, so he waited at a deserted bus stop. A man wearing gloves, dark sunglasses, and a hat appeared and shared his umbrella. The man said strange things. "This world is so weird. Somewhere there's rain, somewhere drought, somewhere life, somewhere death." When Ryan bent down to pick up his fallen phone, he saw the man had no legs. He was floating in the air. Ryan ran, but no matter how far he went, every time he stopped, the man was right beside him again, smiling. In a flash of lightning, Ryan finally saw the man's real face, eyes completely black, blood pouring out. He tried to board a crowded bus to escape, and that's when the crowd trampled him. Ryan survived, but he still wakes up screaming on stormy nights, feeling that umbrella hovering over his head, even when he's safe inside his locked apartment. Stories like these prove one thing. Rain doesn't only bring water. Sometimes it brings back things that should have stayed buried. If you've ever experienced anything paranormal, especially during a heavy storm, drop it in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please smash the like button, share it with friends who love late-night horror, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Because next week we're dropping an even darker story. Until then, stay safe out there especially when it's pouring rain. This is Eerie Narratives, where true stories become nightmares. Good night, or should I say, good luck.
Hey guys, this channel is purely for entertainment. We don't promote superstition or any kind of real belief in the paranormal. We're just here to share some chills around the virtual campfire. Imagine this. It's a pitch-black summer night in the deep backwoods of the Ozark Mountains, Arkansas. No streetlights, no cell signal, just the thick pine trees pressing in and the sound of cicadas screaming like they're warning you. 4 friends, Ryan, Brooke, Derek, and Kayla, had driven 6 hours from St. Louis for a weekend camping at an old family cabin that Ryan's grandpa had left him. The cabin sat on a lonely ridge overlooking a misty holler. It felt peaceful at first, until the sun went down. Then the silence got heavy, the kind of quiet that makes you whisper. They sat around a roaring fire pit, flames licking up sparks into the night sky. Brooke pulled her hoodie tighter. Guys, places like this are made for scary stories. Remember those YouTube channels that do the whole true horror stories by the campfire thing? The ones that give you goosebumps so bad you can't sleep? Derek grinned. Oh yeah, the slow ones that feel way too real. We should do that tonight. Each of us tells one. Ryan, you go first. This is your family's land. You've got to have something creepy from growing up around here. Ryan stared into the fire for a long moment, the light dancing across his face. His usual easy smile faded. I don't really do fake ghost stories, he said quietly, but I do have one that actually happened. It was about 12 years ago, right here on this property. Every time I come back, I still check the locks twice. The group leaned in closer. The fire crackled loudly, as if the woods themselves were listening. I was 15. My grandpa had just passed away, sudden in his sleep. We drove down from Missouri for the funeral. The whole family was here. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Everyone was crying, making arrangements. But something felt wrong the second we walked into the cabin. Grandpa was laid out in the front room on the old oak table they used for everything. His face, it didn't look peaceful. It looked hollow, like something had been chewing on him from the inside for a long time. Last time I'd seen him, he was strong, always out chopping wood or checking his traps. Now he looked drained. Dad pulled me aside after the initial shock. He didn't say much, just handed me an old brass key and a small leather bag that smelled like herbs and gunpowder. Stay right here, he whispered. Don't move. We walked out behind the cabin to this old storm cellar that had been boarded up for as long as I could remember. Nobody ever went down there. Grandpa used to say it was just for tornado season, but even as kids, we knew better. We felt it. Something about that door made your stomach turn. Dad unlocked the heavy padlock, slipped the leather bag around his neck like it was body armor, and told me to wait at the top of the stairs. He disappeared down into the darkness with a flashlight. I heard him moving things around, whispering words I didn't understand. A few minutes later, he came back up carrying some old yellow papers and a small glass jar filled with what looked like black dirt and bones. He locked everything tight again, and we walked back without speaking. Inside, Mom was on the phone with my aunt. She's stuck in traffic, won't get here until late tonight. We have to wait. She wants to see Dad one last time. Dad's face went ghost white. We can't keep him above ground that long, Marie. You know what happens. The old local preacher who'd known Grandpa for 50 years overheard and nodded slowly. If the cellar stays sealed, we can hold till midnight. Just pack the body in ice and salt. Keep the lanterns burning. They brought in bags of ice from the old chest freezer and covered Grandpa completely, surrounding him with rock salt and strange little bundles of dried plants. Most of the funeral rites were already done. We were just waiting on my aunt. I was restless.
While the adults talked in low voices, I slipped outside. The woods felt alive that night. My mind kept spinning. Why the rush with Grandpa's body? Why all the salt and ice? What the hell was really in that storm cellar? Before I knew it, my feet had carried me back to the cellar door. The padlock was still there, but the boards on the side had a gap. I pried one loose and squeezed through. Inside, it smelled like damp earth and something metallic. The walls had old carvings, not English, not quite native either, symbols that looked like they'd been clawed in. There was a rusty iron chair bolted to the floor in the center, and right beneath it, a deep, jagged hole in the concrete that went down further than my flashlight could reach. Around the hole were scattered small animal bones, and a few that looked way too big to be animals. I was still staring when I heard Dad shouting my name from the cabin. I scrambled out, heart hammering, but in my panic, I didn't push the board back perfectly. There was still a small gap. "Where were you?" Dad asked, eyes sharp with fear. "Just walking. Couldn't sit still." "Listen to me, son. Until Grandpa is in the ground at first light, you do not go near that cellar. You hear me?" I nodded, but the questions wouldn't stop. Midnight rolled around. Most of the family had gone to the motel in town. Only Dad and I stayed to watch the body. He eventually fell asleep in the rocking chair on the porch, exhausted. I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the sheet-covered shape on the table. Around 2:30 a.m., I heard it, a wet, scraping sound coming from underneath the house. I sat up fast. Something was moving under the floorboards, right beneath where Grandpa lay. Then I saw it, a long, pale arm reaching up through a crack in the old wooden floor, claws clicking as it pulled itself higher. It wasn't human, too thin, joints bending wrong, skin stretched tight over bone. Its head rose next, no eyes, just deep black sockets, and a mouth that opened way too wide. I tried to wake Dad. He wouldn't stir. Grabbing the fireplace plaker, I ran toward the thing, but the moment I got close, it dropped right back down through the crack and vanished. Then I felt cold breath on the back of my neck. I turned slowly. Grandpa was standing right behind me, except it wasn't really him anymore. His skin hung loose. His mouth was too wide. Those black sockets stared straight into me. "Grandpa?" No answer, just a low growl that sounded like it came from the bottom of a well. He lunged. I hit the floor hard. His fingers, now long and sharp, tore into my shoulder. The pain was blinding. He smelled like wet dirt and old blood. I screamed for Dad while trying to fight him off. Dad woke up at the last second. He grabbed the old shotgun from above the mantel and fired both barrels point blank into the thing's chest. It staggered, but instead of falling, its head snapped back, and a thick, black, oily smoke poured out of the wound and slammed straight into my open mouth. I felt it go down like swallowing ice and motor oil at the same time. It burned all the way to my bones. The preacher arrived minutes later, eyes wide when he saw me. He took one look at my face and whispered, "Sweet Jesus, the Hollow One found a new rider." While they rushed to burn Grandpa's body right there in the backyard before sunrise, the old man explained in a shaking voice, "That thing in the cellar has been on this land longer than any of us. The old-timers called it a hollow, a spirit that lives in the dark places between roots and stone. It doesn't possess the living right away. It waits inside the dead, feeding slow, making them look drained. Once the body is gone, it needs a new home, preferably someone with the same bloodline. Your grandpa kept it locked down there for 40 years with salt, iron, and blood rituals. That hole in the floor is its den. When you open the sideboard, you let the seal break just enough." Dad looked destroyed. "What do we do?" The preacher placed a heavy iron cross on a chain around my neck. "He wears this cross every single day for the next 13 years. On the anniversary of your grandpa's death, we chain him in that cellar with every binding we know. Pray it holds." I asked, voice cracking, "What exactly is it?" "Something that was here before the Cherokee, before the settlers, a hunger that never dies. It doesn't kill you outright. It just hollows you out over time, makes you crave things you shouldn't. And once it picks a bloodline, it stays in the family until the line ends." Mom cried quietly in the corner. I just sat there, feeling that cold weight settle deep in my chest, like something had curled up and gone to sleep inside my ribs. Ryan stopped talking. The campfire popped loudly. For a second, his eyes seemed to reflect the flames a little too brightly. Derek swallowed hard. "So, is it still inside you?" Ryan gave a small, tired smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Yeah, every year on the anniversary, they still have to chain me in that cellar. And some nights, I can feel it moving around in there."
Yeah, every year on the anniversary, they still have to chain me in that cellar. And some nights, I can feel it moving around in there, waiting for the day the iron finally breaks. He looked up at the dark Ozark woods surrounding them. "Kinda like tonight."